Hey guys, Hugh Shang here. Welcome to another Starcraft 2 lesson. Today I have a game from a student here playing Zerg, so we're going to take a look, see what's going on. And I haven't watched this replay yet, so we're gonna maybe focus on the main problems. This is a super long replay, and just try to give him some tips. So yeah, so Terran here is opening pretty standard, although he did skip the Reaper, which is a bit weird. So if you play against this, what you can do is use your lings to move across the map right away. So here we can see that the Overlord's coming in. There's no sign of a Reaper. Yeah, and this is a bit unfortunate. So basically what you want to do against this is here when you're... Where are your lings right now? Yeah, so you're making your lings. You want to send these straight across at first. And then you want this Overlord to pull back if you don't see a Reaper. So there should be a Reaper here at about 205. So right here you should see a Reaper. And if you don't see a Reaper right now, then your opponent is doing some sort of weird opening. And you can try to get some more info later with your lings. So send the lings across, pull this back, and then you're not going to lose the Overlord. Even though, you know, you can't really see what's going on, you can see the lack of a Reaper. Okay, and wow, this guy is hiding his factory. This is super weird. Normally, if they don't put their factory here, it's a 2-1-1, but I suppose he's got something else in mind. Tech Lab on the factory. Yeah, so this looks a lot like a 2-1-1 to me right now, if I was playing this game. And back at home, everything looks fairly okay. Where is this third queen though? I'm not sure where the third queen is. I feel like we're missing one. Not sure what happened there. Okay, so he's going for Banshees. Interesting. Now there should be a sack on this Overlord, so this is a bit late. Okay, now we're going in. Yeah, so I mean, the Spore Crawlers need to go down at like 420, so it's really important that you get this in before that. Or, honestly, you could almost just skip this if you want to just, you know, play super ultra safe and just throw in a bunch of queens and spores. It's not safe against everything, but if you're in this situation here where you just haven't scouted early enough, then, you know, you might want to just default to these spores. Because, I mean, here we're just going to take super critical damage. Let's fast forward this. I think the mistake is, you know, pretty obvious. So let's go ahead and fast forward to the mid game. And this guy's transitioning over into a pretty big push, it seems. 4 racks, 2 factory. Okay. You can't really afford this as Terran. But maybe he's going to skip upgrades or something. Okay, and so in the back, Zerg is getting, you know, a bunch of Banes, a bunch of Lings. Yeah, so I mean, so the problem here is that Terran's not really going to attack right now. Like, they still have a huge buildup. And so if you're making Ling Bane right now, expecting them to be pushing, then you're kind of putting yourself behind. So this is really something you don't want to be making unless they're doing like a Hellbat push. That's honestly like the only build that you need Banes against is the Hellbat pushes. Even if they're doing something like a 2-1-1, it's really not that good to get the Banes. They're actually really easy to kill with the 2-1-1. You know, playing that build quite a bit myself. Banelings are actually way worse than Lynx. So you definitely need to not make those and just focus on getting your drone count up first. And you know it's not a 2-1-1, by the way. Like, to make it clear, the reason you don't need any units is because you figured out that it's not a 2-1-1 because of the Banshee. Or when you flew it in, you saw the factory early. So, like, it's not actually possible for him to have something like a drop with Stim or Hellbats because you saw the Marines. So there's actually no build that he can do that can push you. But regardless, it seems like you're doing okay on the drones. Like, you're not super behind or anything despite that. Getting your layer 1-1. Okay, this is a bit risky to go 1-1 first. Well, maybe not risky, but I think it's much harder. So I definitely recommend you go for the Baneling speed first and then 1-1. At this MMR, there's really no reason to get your upgrades a little quicker. And he should be setting up for some sort of push, but we'll see here. Okay, and you're going mutas. I think you might be... Yeah, okay, wait, hold up. You're getting hydras and mutas. I feel like I've told you this one before. But yeah, you definitely should not be making both hydra and muta. Maybe I actually told you recently, and this is an old replay. That could be the case. But you definitely don't want to make both. Because they're kind of doing similar roles in supporting your units. Well, they're supporting your units in similar ways. They're doing different jobs though. Like the hydras are mainly defensive, you know, for adding DPS and for killing drops, whereas the muta are much more aggressive options. So in this particular game, if you're gonna make these mutas, you might as well make a bunch more and start putting some pressure on him, or just go into the hydras and sit back and play it that way. They're both viable, but you should probably pick one or the other. Okay, so you went for an attack here. Let's go back actually. Just so I can reassess this, because I don't really see the point in attacking here. I mean, you can try to take out this base is not too bad, but you aren't in a fantastic position. And you're losing a lot of Banelings doing this. You're fighting off creep. So it's not super ideal. Like, if you came in here and you could get a free base snipe, then that might be nice. And this might work a lot better if you're playing Muta. Like, again, the Hydraling Bane is fairly defensive in nature. So you playing Hydraling Bane and then attacking is like a little bit incongruent. I mean, maybe if you're like really ahead and you want to counterattack, you want a big fight, then it could be decent. But yeah, here it's just kind of awkward because now you lost all your army. He still kept his base, which needed to go down, to be honest, if you're going to commit this much. Yeah, and now you're in kind of a funny position where you're fairly equal in supply. He still has his base. Let's keep going. He's kind of getting a little bit out of control here, to be honest. Okay, you're going for Brood Lords. I think this is good, to be honest. Usually I say it's bad, but in this particular game, he's actually making Marauders before he's even really figured out what you're doing. So I think this is actually fairly strong right now, if you've picked up on that, or yeah, assuming you're not like just going Broodlords to go Broodlords. If you picked up on that he has a lot of tank Marauder, then I think this is a strong tech choice. Breaking these rocks, good choice. Also, I see you have like almost no vision, so this is a good time in the game to just kind of have at least one ling on every single base over here, and if you can, even some of these paths, because if he does, like he's doing actually right now, I think, yeah, if he does like a 3 medevac push over here, he can easily snipe this base and put you back down to 4 bases in an instant. Or you know, I guess you don't have a base over here yet, but he could easily come in here as well and just clear all your creep, and you don't really know where to position your army, so you need to have some better spotters. Yeah, like I think your plan was to come over here and take out this base, but he didn't actually have it. Okay, so you move commander into that battle, which is fine. You can control the Hydra Ling, like the Hydras separately from the Ling Bane. It's pretty helpful. But yeah, this is going pretty good. This is actually solid. Again, I don't think it's the strongest play with this comp to do this, but yeah, it's working out fine. And he's counterattacking. I think this game's basically won, right? Okay, you definitely should have focused that first, but you clean this up. How does this game go 31 minutes? Hold up. Okay, he killed one base, but I mean, you just want to double expand here. Maybe even triple expand. You can get a lot more hatcheries and be in a good position, and then you just need to take out this base and you win. So what happens here? Did he kill your queens? Okay, he killed a lot of queens, I guess. 3 hatch. You're going up to 4 hatch queen. Taking a bunch of bases. Yeah, so you're doing all the right things. And you need to just, once you're in this position where you're way ahead in economy, then what you need to do is just max out with a comp that's pretty good at being aggressive and just push his last base. Just take it out. So, yeah, I don't know what happens here. You're getting Corruptor. That's definitely not something you need. I guess you're thinking about going Broodlords. But you already made this huge army that's not Broodlords. So it would have been better if you just committed to this Hydroling Bane first, I think, and then went Broodlords. Okay, so you're trying to push into his main. Yeah, I mean, this is likely the main mistake, depending on how this goes. But you should have pushed this base instead. This base is just pretty awkward to push into. And you're so ahead, like, if you look at the supply. Like, this is his most defended base, for sure. But since you're so ahead, it makes a lot of sense to just push here and take it out. Or at the very least, just trade. And since you're so ahead, then it'll be an easy way to end the game. But this is actually, you're trading super inefficiently here, so this is probably how he comes back. Yeah, so your Banes are going for the CC, which, you know, isn't bad if you kill it, but you didn't get it. I think you did that on this base too, so just make sure you get the bases if you do that. It's not too bad to trade your gas for Terrans and Minerals, Terrans and Mineral Income, but you just gotta make sure you actually get it. Okay, now you're making the same comp. And Broodlords. So you could make this transition much smoother if you were doing it all at once. Like if you want to go for, let's say, 10 Broodlords, just make your 10 Corruptor, make your 10 Broodlords, and then make other units. You're kind of like adding them in like 1 or 2 at a time. So you have this really awkward army that has like 3 Broodlords, which are you know, they're not really useful at this number, to be honest. They're kind of bad. So yeah, you probably don't want to make these. Also, since he started adding on so many ghosts, it's not really as advantageous to add these Broodlords anymore, unless you want to play a really slow game. And if you want to play a really slow game, you should change your comp to be more like Broodlord Infestor, Corruptor, that kind of thing. So yeah, your army here is just a little mix of everything, which is not too strong. And this type of attack is honestly, you shouldn't really do this anymore because of how the last fight went. Like, you got to adjust based on your position in the game. So like here, I mean, you're ahead a little bit in supply, but you're attacking again the most fortified position. So it doesn't work as well as, is this before? Yeah. So here's before, right? So you're at like maxed versus 120 supply, or you should be maxed in a second. And so pushing this base makes a lot more sense because of how far ahead you are. And if you're in an even game, like once you end up throwing this army away, then you should transition over into something a little bit more stable. Or at least just wait till he takes another base. Like, don't attack his most fortified position. So like here you trade your army out. Now you're very even in the game again, so you don't have a huge advantage. So you can play this Slingbane Hydra army, but you just need to slow it down. Maybe get your drone count up. Jesus, he's a 30 worker. Okay, well, that changes stuff a little bit. But you should chill here and you know, rebuild your army, play a little bit more defensive, and play from that position. Because here you just throw into him when you're, you know, not maxed, I believe. Yeah, so here we can see your supplies are much closer. So there's no reason to go for this. You could just play for, you know, spotting his 5th and denying that. And then in the meantime, just take advantage of, you know, all your defenders' advantage. Like, you have pretty decent creeps in this game. It could be a little better, but it's not too bad. It's pretty decent. And just play a defensive game for a bit and see what he wants to do. Like, if he wants to keep playing this game, he's going to have to take a 5th, right? So let him take this 5th, and then he's going to have to defend this base and his 5th, which are really far apart. It's actually really hard to defend a fifth on this base. So let him take it and then put some pressure on. And then he'll have like half his army on one side, half on the other, and it'll be a much better fight for you. Okay, so he's counterattacking with some Vikings. Slow it down a little bit. Yeah, so I mean here, easy pick off for you. He has his units way out of position. I think you also got this base as well. So this is obviously going fantastic for you. As soon as you get that base, just pull back, by the way. There's really no reason to go any further. Like the longer the game goes past that point, the better for you. So there's no rush once you kill some key bases. It's going to be an easier cleanup if you pull back and then come in again later. Okay, so yeah, so here you basically win. So here, there's still like 8 minutes left in this game. So I'm assuming you push in again here, which makes it very hard for you to close. So what you should do is just, once you take out these bases, just pull back, max out, get some really strong units to counter whatever he has, and then go. So maybe here you're fine with just something like Hydroling Bane is okay. Oh, your worker count's pretty rough. Yeah, so I mean, even in this situation, this is even worse. Is if you push here, when you're really low workers, then it's very easy to lose the game because he's going to have a defensive position. So don't push here. If you lose this game, this is definitely where it happens. Okay, you do pull back. A little bit of losses. Okay, you're rebuilding your drones. That's good. This is the right thing to do, for sure. Here he sneaks around you. So this is a spotter thing. Getting your Ling over there. Or you could split up your army in two. Is also pretty good against these small drops. Just preemptively. And then you don't have to move your army as far. Okay, good cleanup. Again, you don't need to do anything here. There's literally nothing to do on his side of the map because he's very starved. And you know, you have this base, you have this base, you could have this base if you retake it and get it mining again. So you have 3 bases to 1 base. So the only way you can, you know, keep losing this game is if you keep pushing into him in his defensive positions. And this is probably like the best defensive position on the map. It's pretty tucked away on these 4 bases. Like, this is a nice choke point. This is a pretty good choke point. This is also a pretty good choke point. So anything you can do to just, you know, wait until he takes these bases and then push is much better, I think. Yeah, so you threw away your army again. You're getting lots of gas, but you're not making any gas units. So that's something you probably don't want to do if you want to keep pushing. Like, you should probably just take these bases, get these saturated in minerals if you want to keep pushing with Lingbane Hydra. Or you need to go into Broodlords if you're going to play with this much gas and Infestors. Otherwise, you're just not using it. Yeah, so I mean, I think this game is just you pushing at times where you don't need to, and you could just be patient. Wait for a new base to go down that's a little more exposed, and then do your push. And if you did that, I think you win this game much earlier on. Right. Yeah, same thing here. Oh, and now you actually end up losing this game, I guess. Yeah, so I mean, super unfortunate. Like, he basically came back in this game because you just kept throwing your army into these really nice positions, right? And you needed to be super patient, wait till he was more exposed. Probably he would end up taking this base next. And obviously this is a much more wide open area, and so you would do a lot better in these fights. So I think that's the main mistake to work on, is just make sure you have a good target when you go for these pushes and you're not, you know, attacking into a Terran who's super sieged up and defensive already. Alright, cool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this analysis. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you in the next one.